Hi everybody,
Hello.
I'm Bethany,
And I'm Ryan.
and welcome to Pounds and Inches, our board game review series where we review board games while we also talk about how we're achieving health. Today we're going to be talking about Amerigo, but before we get there, let's talk about what's going on health-wise.
All right, so this spring I'm going to be focusing a lot on exercise and getting my body moving again. I was able to go disc golfing this past weekend, and I've lost a full 40 pounds since the last time I went disc golfing. And you know what? I could tell. My knee felt a whole lot better. My knee brace fit on better. I had a lot of fun. I managed to injure a different part of my body, but that's a separate issue. So I'm definitely looking forward to seeing where this goes and what I'm capable of. How about you?
As most of you know, my main thing right now is just re-educating myself on what nutrition is, and I just started Mark Sisson. Anyway, I just started his book, The Primal Blueprint. I'm only 2.5 chapters into it, but I'm pretty excited to just start building the foundations of what real nutrition is. So, yeah.
All right, so without any further ado, let's talk about Amerigo by Stefan Feld and published by Queen Games. What do you get when you open the box of Amerigo?
All right, so you get this cube tower that you see right here and the cubes. You get the main action board. There's a large island tile board thing that you'll see at the end. There's a whole lot of chits. There's resources, progress, little bits, pirate pieces, landscapes, and your personal player board, and then the tokens and chits associated with those. So how do you play Amerigo?
All right, so Amerigo, like a lot of Stefan Feld's games, is a point salad game, which that may be a turnoff for some, but I really enjoy it. Basically, that means that all the actions that you do give you some points. So you're going to get points from all different categories and areas. But if focusing on certain ones and stressing those and doing them all efficiently is going to get you the most amount of points and get you the victory. So in this particular game, everything is driven by this cube tower here. So let's take a look at how that looks. Basically what's going to happen is we're going to go around this circle putting cubes into this cube tower. Certain things are going to fall out, and let's see what that looks like. So right now I'm going to put in 6 of the blue cubes into the tower. What came out was 5 blue cubes and 2 red cubes. So the way that works is basically I can take either the blue action or the red action, and you can take it the strength of whatever the highest value was. So in this case it's 5, so you can either do a 5 value blue action or a 5 red action. Even though there's only 2 red there, you do the value of whatever the highest cube is. Alright, so obviously some cubes got lodged in there, as well as dropping them in there dislodged other ones. So let's talk about what the different actions mean. The blue one, which is the one that we have the most of right here, is the one that allows you to travel your boat along through the island tile. That's going to be where you get a lot of your points from discovering new islands, and eventually you're going to build on those islands as well, which we'll talk about. The black cubes, those are what your defense is to allow you to fight off the pirates. Every round, like a lot of Stefan Feld's games, there's some kind of requirement that you have to meet or else you're going to lose points. In this game, it's pirates. Every round, more pirates are going to come out, and you keep having to build more and more cannons up to be able to fend those guys off. And if not, you're going to lose some points. The red action, that's the action that allows you to kind of plan ahead, allow you to almost buy tiles that are going to be placed on that large island board. So you're going to buy them ahead of time, and then later in this green action, that's where you actually place them from your holding pattern onto the large island board. That allows you to collect some resources as well as score some points. So it's kind of a 2-step process. Red allows you to kind of buy it, green places it. The brown action cubes, that is what allows you to, what they call progress. They go through this progress track and allows you to get some points as well as get some rules, some of these tiles that allow you to break some rules, give you some added benefits and advantages. So we talked about green. Going on to yellow, yellow is kind of a modifier and a multiplier. It multiplies the commodities that you've gathered onto that main island board and gets you some extra points that way. Lastly, we have the white cubes. Those do a couple things for you. First of all, the farther along you are on the white track, that determines the player order. So the farther you're ahead, the sooner you go in the turn order. Also, later on, you can kind of use it as a wild almost. Wherever you are on that track, if you have your little disc on a red action space, you can use the white cubes as a red action space. So it kind of gives you some flexibility later on in the game. So those are all the different actions that you can take. Basically, we're going to go around this track putting these different cubes in 5 times. There's 5 rounds. At the end of each round, you kind of add more pirates in, kind of clear off the board a little bit, get reset, and then eventually, after the end of 5 rounds, whoever has the most points wins. All right, so I kind of gave a very quick overview of what a turn looks like, what the game plays like, but what are some things we like about this game?
All right, so for me, this game is like the sweet spot for my decision making. We play a lot of Feld games and a lot of games like this in general, and I swear every single time I get about 75% in and then I don't know what to do with the last quarter of the game. But with this one, I feel like it's just enough for me to have a handle on it, to plan, to rearrange if stuff happens, and I get it. And so it's just, like I said, it's just a sweet spot for my decision making. It's just complicated enough, or just enough choices for me to feel stretched, but not to feel overwhelmed. And I just love that.
I love how the cube tower kind of dictates what your choices are a little bit. So in this scenario, we had either blue or red. And it's a little bit predictable. I mean, if you're dropping in 6 blue cubes, you can at least predict a few blues to come out, so you can kind of plan ahead in that way. But you get those pleasant surprises of, oh, you know what, I really needed to take a red action here, but oh man, I hope a red cube comes out. And if not, you still have other choices, and I really like that.
Speaking of the tower, I really like how functional it is. I know Ryan was just talking about that, but there's like an amount of chance. Thank you. There's an amount of chance that the game wants you to have. Not a lot, but just enough. And I think the tower does that perfectly with how the little cubes can get stuck in there and come out when you don't expect it. But still, as Ryan said, you are going to be able to expect certain cubes to come out. And I like that type of just a little bit of chance that's in there.
I like that each individual action is very easy to teach and to execute. So I mean, the red action is very clear what it does. The yellow action is very clear what it does. But kind of piecing all that together, there's more to the story than just those individual actions. So it's a very easy game to teach, believe it or not, even though it is somewhat complex. You might not get the whole thing on your first game, but after the end of your first game, you're definitely going to understand how to play. And I know some of the more complex games, that's not true of. This one it is, and I really appreciate that.
And this game scales very nicely to player. Since the majority of the games that I play, like 50-60% of the time, are 2-player, I just like that to be a requirement for the games that we own, and this definitely hits that.
And I've played 3 and 4-player as well, and basically it scales perfectly for all of those. On the large island board, it just adds more tiles to that. Some more commodities come out and the multipliers come out. Everything scales very well, and it adds a little bit of time to the game the more players you have, but really it's still very smooth and very well balanced.
One of the things that I didn't like about this game is honestly something I didn't even think about until we were thinking about things we didn't like about this game. And that's just that the artwork's functional. I mean, it's not exciting or anything, but it does what it needs to do. It just is.
Yeah, I mean, it's true. A lot of the Euro games, it's just not very exciting, but it gets the job done. And man, we are really scraping the bottom of the negativity barrel to try to find things we don't like about this game because we just like it that much. But mainly I would say that the rules, I had to read them a couple of times. Even after I read it the first time and played, I had to go back and I found a couple of errors that I had made. And that's not even necessarily the game's fault, but just something to be aware of. You might want to read the rules a couple of times, get yourself familiar with it before you actually teach it to a group. Yeah, that's all that's our only nitpicky thing about this game. This is a solid game. We really like it a lot.
Yeah.
We can definitely recommend it. All right, so that's it for this episode of Pounds and Inches. Feel free to subscribe to see all of our latest videos as they come out. You can also check out our blog on BoardGameGeek.com. It's also called Pounds and Inches. We talk a little bit more about our health journey and what our successes and hopefully not very often, but sometimes our failures pop up there as well. Furthermore, you can check out Bethany's Instagram page. Her handle is BNFigs, and you can kind of see what board games we're playing and what hijinks we're up to at the time. You can like or comment on any of those platforms. We love feedback, hearing from you guys about what board games are hitting your table, what your health goals are, and what you're doing to obtain them are, and what you think of our reviews. We'd love to hear back from you guys on any of those things. So basically, we look forward to coming back for another episode and bringing you guys some more reviews.
All right. Bye.
Bye, everyone.